told you everything you knew about holding a conversation is wrong? What if I told you the secret to conversational success is not from what you say, but what you don't? In this speaker's critique speech of the TED Talk 10 Ways to Be a Better Conversationalist by Cicely Headley, I'll be explaining how her speech is both an excellent example of a successful speech and how it proves that she's a compelling speaker overall. I'll be doing so by going over the interviewing methods that she uses to teach the audience how to be better conversationalists. I'll go over her best, most effective speaking skills, and I will also go over why I chose this video for my speech and whether or not it met my expectations. So let's get started. First, interviewing skill. Don't multitask. Essentially, don't be physically or mentally doing something else while you're having a conversation with someone. That's because to be a good conversationalist, you have to be in the moment and present to the person that you're having a conversation with. Next, don't pontificate. What I mean by this is don't intentionally come to a conversation with a dogmatic or pompous attitude. This is because the audience would be less likely to listen to you because you come across as arrogant and less likely to listen to other people's perspectives. Next, use open-ended questions. Start your questions with who, what, when, where, and why. Why is this? It's because as an interviewer, if you use overly complicated questions, the interviewee is going to give you a simple answer. You have to let the interviewee give the details of their story, the descriptive details of their story. Lastly, the most important method that she talked about was listening. To summarize Headley, she says, why don't we listen to each other? Number 1, we'd rather talk. And 2, we get distracted because it's an effort to pay attention. Now let's move on to the speaker's best speaking skills and why they were most effective. Her best speaking skills were her extended use of research, quotes, and story throughout the speech to support her claim. The other important speaking skill that she used was her ability to engage with the audience. She did this by making them laugh, with her use of comedic timing, and through active participation that she used through questions that she asked them throughout the entire speech. To finish this critique, let's go over why I chose the speech and whether it met my expectations. Why did I choose a speech? The answer is I was intrigued. I was intrigued because I feel like I'm a good listener, but I'm a average to bad conversationalist. I wanted to know if this speech was going to be a recycled number of tips that I've heard over and over again that have never really helped me, or if they were going to be new. Did it meet my expectations? It exceeded them. It exceeded them because not only did she bring new tips, but she also expanded upon the tips that I'm learning in communications class. In conclusion, throughout this course of this critique speech, we went over a few of the 10 ways that Miss Healy taught the audience how to interview and how that led to them being better conversationalists. We went over what her most effective skills were and why they were effective. And we went over why I chose a speech to begin with and whether or not it met my expectations. Nonetheless, throughout the entire evaluation of Miss Healy, I learned to be a better conversationalist through her use of interview skills. I went over her best speaking skills. I went over that her best speaking skills were her educational sources, her comedic timing, and her active encouragement of audience participation. And I explained why I was intrigued by this speech in the first place. All in all, I want to end this speech with a quote directly from the speech I'm criticizing. To begin the quote, I know it takes effort and energy to actually pay attention, but if you can't do this, you're not in a conversation. You're just two people shouting barely related sentences in the same place. End quote. Thank you.